Hello and welcome to the NFL Big Match Preview brought to you by NFL Insight. I'm Andy Richmond, and one of the games that we're putting under the microscope this week is the San Francisco 49ers visit to the Carolina Panthers as the playoffs move into the divisional round. What are we going to look at? Well, we're going to cover some of the betting markets here, reflect on previous games between the two teams, and how their seasons have gone so far, especially looking back at last week for the 49ers. And most importantly, of course, we'll be looking at some of those tactical facets which will make up this game, 5 for each team, which could prove crucial at this time of the season, before we round out the preview with a small sample of our live match trading statistics, which form the basis of a lot of our decisions on Sunday, when we'll be trading this game live in our live trading room. Now let's take a look at the match odds first and see how they compare with our master tissue. You can see that the bookmakers have got the 49ers in as around 1.91 favourites for this. They are favourites, this despite the Panthers being at home and the Panthers having a victory over them this year. We reckon that they're probably just about right. The Panthers actually probably should be a little bit longer, around 2.17. There's not much in it on the handicap. We would give it sort of a nominal point. This game has come a consensus to be a real pick-em game as well at the moment, as it probably should be, with the two teams being very, very close this year. Let's have a look at how the money line shapes up. We'll look at the matchbook prices here, and there you can see actually the Panthers are slight favourites here. So there's a lot of ebb and flow on this game, and I think it just depends who you favour, who you want to go with. I just slightly favour the Panthers at home, but the 49ers coming off that tough trip to Lambeau Field last week, but you would be hard to push to write them off. I think it'd be a great game to trade this one. You can see there's the unders and overs as well that we're looking at there. 41 points, tight game. This, of course, the Panthers went to for the 49ers earlier in the season and beat them 10-9, so just 19 points in that game, and we could be in for a similarly tight game on Sunday night. Let's look back at the season, how it's gone. The Panthers tied a franchise record. They had 12 wins, won the division for the 4th time in team history. They ranked 2nd in the NFL in points allowed, just 241 points allowed, and total defence, 301.3 yards per game, and rushing defence. They are very, very hard to score on and to run on as well. That'll be one of the key matchups in this game. The 49ers, of course, they lost out in their divisional race to the Seattle Seahawks, who enter the fray on Sunday. And to opening the postseason on the road, San Francisco went up to Green Bay, up to Lambeau Field, and won 23-20 on a last-minute field goal there. That was the 3rd consecutive season under head coach Jim Harbaugh that they've advanced to the divisional round. So of course, they were beaten in the Super Bowl last year. Just a little history between the two teams. The 49ers have lost 4 straight games versus the Panthers, and they're actually 2-8 versus the Panthers since 1999. The Panthers won the regular season meetings, I mentioned before, between the two teams at Candlestick Park, 10-9. Of course, Candlestick Park is no more. 49ers move into a new home next year. Let's move on now. Let's have a look at the 5 facets of the game for each team that could well be vital in deciding how to play this out. We'll look at the 49ers first. It's a team that they don't make a lot of mistakes. They've had one of the biggest reasons for their resurgence has been the presence of wide receiver Michael Crabtree. He missed much of the season, but since his return in December, he's caught 19 passes for 284 yards and a score in the team's final 5 games. His rapport with quarterback Colin Kaepernick is hard to ignore. It's also very important to know that the talented wide receiver was not around for the team's first meeting this season, which was a 10-9 loss by the 49ers in San Francisco. Carolina's defense gave up just 21 touchdowns this season, but 17 of those, crucially, came through the air. Hence, Crabtree and Kaepernick will be more than anxious to test Ron Rivera's pass defense this Sunday. Now, this will be a tough clash, and the one thing that the 49ers demonstrated on Sunday against the Packers is that although they looked on the ropes at some stage of the game, they're a resilient bunch who are always capable of coming roaring back at the opposition or opponent. And an important point to remember if you are trading the game: don't write them off too quickly. It's a good job the 49ers have a defense that travels well. As going to win a Super Bowl, they're going to have to. And they're going to have to travel well because they're going to be on the road from here on in. Critics will be hard pressed to find a more complete unit than this one, and it's faced a ton of adversity this season, which only strengthens its case to being one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. Every position has been marred by injury or unforeseen circumstances. The Niners are in every single game, because of this defence, has stood together and had a bar of about 17 or 20 points. And more often than not, teams can't score more than that. It gives them a really good chance. Their defence always puts them in the game. Often, getting the little details in the game right are the thing that would tilt the result in your favour. And the 49ers noticeably did that against the Packers. They had a good return game. The blocking by running back Frank Gore was excellent, really, really excellent. That actually opened up lots of lanes for quarterback Colin Kaepernick as well. And Gore did a magnificent job in blocking in that game. His running, okay, going for 60 odd yards, but his blocking was really noticeable. They had an excellent kicking game. Everybody pitched in, and that was helping the 49ers stay alive in this game and inch out a victory in a win or go home scenario, which of course they face again on Sunday. Now the 49ers are going to have to do things the hard way this year, and that means being as good on the road as they are at home, and they have to do that with coach, with certain things. Coach Harbaugh stays committed to the run, and that works, and it's a side that yields less turnovers and then silences the crowd, and that is a big key factor. I'll come on to touch on that when I talk about the Panthers in a minute. They don't give up many big plays, they have a really solid kicking game, and they've also gained confidence in winning tough games on the road time and time again. This is a team that's been there and done it and known how to do it, so we'll have to see how they go now. Now let's flip the coin over and take a look at some of the keys of the game for the Panthers. Now much of the focus will be on Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. It's true that Carolina have already have that verdict over the 49ers this year, but much of that was down to the defence, and Newton may have to up his game if the Panthers are going to grab their first playoff win since 2005. In 3 of his last 4 outings, he's been limited to fewer than 200 yards passing. Over that span, Cam Newton's been sacked 12 times. Carolina won 3 of those games, but in this meeting with the playoff proven 49ers, the reigning NFC champions may need a lot more than a mere 10 points, and Newton is going to have to step up on Sunday. Carolina have also had issues coming out of a bye week under Ron Rivera. And effectively, this is what they're doing here. They're coming out of a bye week. In 3 seasons as head coach, Rivera has dropped all 3 games coming out of the bye week. Additionally, many Panthers fans will point to the divisional playoff game against Arizona following a bye week in 2008 that saw Carolina get embarrassed on their home field. Understandably, the home crowd hopes to avoid a repeat of that history. One of the biggest issues for the Panthers will be managing to contain 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick. You can see he's been elusive this year, and the Packers certainly found that out last Sunday. A lot of the plays he ran against the Packers were a result of tight coverage played on his wide receivers, but he could then take off to the outside and gain good yards. The Panthers must control the edge of the line of scrimmage and force Kaepernick back inside if he takes off. You must not let him get outside you, because he can gain yards very, very quickly. Now the one thing that will be on the Panthers side on Sunday, and it's often the crowd are often referred to as the 12th man. They certainly are up in Seattle, for instance. And since this week's divisional game will be the first one in Charlotte since 2008, the crowd noise should be louder than that of Green Bay last week. And considering the short time it took to sell out tickets for this game, which was about 3 minutes, the Carolina fans should be a rowdy bunch that will do all it can to upset the tempo of that Niners offense. Now the pass rush, let's talk about that. The 6 sacks taken by Kaepernick in week 10 when the teams met before, the most in his career. But he was also put under duress on an additional 4 dropbacks. Kaepernick went 0 of 3 passing and scrambled for 1 yard on those plays. The Panthers finished the regular season with an NFL high 60 sacks, and the pass rush was only getting stronger as the season ended. The Panthers were able to sack Drew Brees and Matt Ryan a combined 15 times in the last 2 games of the season, with Greg Hardy, watch for him on Sunday, accounting for nearly half. He got 7 sacks in those 2 games, and getting to Kaepernick will be one of the most important keys to this game. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that our exclusive trading stat sheets that we have, they're extensive on this game. They're exclusive to the members of the Insiders Club and NFL Insight as well, and they have lots of information about how these sides have responded in certain situations before and how often they go on to win the game from certain situations. These are a guideline, but they do give you a price to compare with what is on offer from the bookmakers at that point. Here you can see some of the trading stats on this game, where sides are leading by 7 points at half time. Carolina, 72% of the time they go on to win the game, whereas San Francisco, if they're leading by 7 points at half time, 75% of the time they go on to win the game. And you can see similarly if they're leading by 3 points, if the game is tied at half time in a tight game as well. Now we have all those live in our live trading room on Sunday. We have the ability to predict the live tissue price and how likely statistically certain outcomes are to happen at any point in the game. And you can also see those chances where the sides are taking a 10-0 lead. There's a 10% chance of Carolina taking a 10% lead, whereas a 9% chance of San Francisco taking that lead. We also calculate the percentage chance of sides coming back to tie or lead in a game when they're behind. That gives us a tremendous advantage when we're trading a game. Now these statistics are a small taster of the profusion of data that we have available in those sheets, which are exclusive to our members of NFL Insight, and via the live updates which we fire into our trading room on Sunday night. They make it much easier to assess match situations and the odds available at an instant as well. Now the match preview that you've just been watching are a small part of what we do here at NFL Insight, and if you like what we do, well, be sure to subscribe to the NFL Insight TV channel via YouTube, where you'll get all the latest previews. And I'll be back for previewing another playoff game this weekend. We've picked on the San Diego visit to the Denver Broncos, and we'll be further previewing all the big games that are coming up in the NFL as well. Of course, we've got the championship games next week, and then of course the big one, the Super Bowl in the Big Apple this year. Now if you make sure you also check out our betting focus previews via our website, which is www.betting-insight.com, where we will take all the best betting opportunities on the game, all those prop bets that you see once we've taken into account all the tactical factors in this preview. If you like what we're doing here at NFL Insight, come and get involved with us, where we'll be providing with more NFL previews, statistics, trading views and betting advice. NFL Insight is at the forefront of a new way of looking at and betting on the NFL. I've been Andy Richmond. I hope you've enjoyed our preview of the 49ers visit to the Panthers on Sunday in the NFC divisional round.